The following is a presentation of Geekster Media.
Welcome to the Retro Resurgence podcast. Now, get ready to take that journey into the neon glow of nostalgia. Here are your hosts, Ken and Chad.
Hey there, podcast listeners, and welcome to the debut episode of the Retro Resurgence podcast. If you're listening to the sound of my voice, we thank you for tuning in, downloading, and listening to episode 1 of our nostalgia-filled trip down a neon memory lane back to the 80s and 90s. My name is Chad, and I'm one half of the team here at the Retro Resurgence. Joining me is my partner in crime, Ken. Ken, how's it going, man?
Doing really good, Chad. Super excited to get this started. And it's always something I've wanted to do for a while. And I'm glad that you decided to do it with me. So, yeah, super excited to get started and go down this road of memories from childhood and a little bit later on in life, too.
Awesome. Just to give the listeners a little background of our origin, we've just really started to get to know each other socially through our partner network, the Geekster, formerly the Retro Network, and
right.
We've just been friends with the gang over there, and I think it was you that kind of got the podcast itch. If for those who don't know, Ken is the host of Toy Time Warp, and
Yep.
He's also got a few social media channels. You want to let the listeners know, Ken, about the origins of that and kind of where that
Yes. Yeah, so I have a YouTube channel called Toy Time Warp. It's kind of struggling right now a little bit, only 14 subscribers, but my Instagram under the same name I'm up to almost 90 followers on Instagram, so I don't know what the difference is between, YouTube and Instagram, but more followers on Instagram, but hopefully pretty soon here it'll start picking up.
Yeah, absolutely. And, just the side note, Ken and I, Ken's approaching 50. I just came over the 40 mark, and we this whole social media thing is sort of new in this realm. I mean, I've been on social media for years, but never, just more of personal friends and family, never really to try to promote or do something. So Ken, about a year ago, when he started his podcast, he was looking for somebody to do the graphics, and I've always kind of had an interest in doing graphics and Photoshop work and stuff like that. So that's kind of where me and you started, wouldn't you say, with
Right.
just doing your graphics for your top 10 list and things like that?
Yeah, I tried to do a podcast last year called Wide World of Toys, but didn't really take off the way I wanted it to. I was doing it solo, and I just thought, I need somebody else to bounce, ideas and things like that off of instead of just sitting down in my basement, talking to myself. It was kind of weird. So I decided to stop that, and then kind of got the itch again a few months ago to try and do this again.
Yeah. And that's kind of, when you sent me the message, private message, and you kind of had, approached me about doing something. We listened to a lot of similar podcasts over the years, and throughout the show and throughout the episodes, we want to give shout outs to some of the people that have kind of, I would say, came before us, and then also some of the people who are very well established and keep going. And that's the thing with Ken and I. When we discussed doing this, we both kind of agreed, we're not trying to do it to gain notoriety. We're not trying to, we just love talking about the old days. When you say, Ken?
Exactly, yeah. Like you said, I did hit 50 earlier this year in March, so I'm officially in that club, and it's just like, you know what? Let's try something different, try something new. So yeah, and those memories from back in those days, I still can remember, a lot of things. So I just kind of, want to get it out there and share all of those kind of things with, everybody else. So
yeah, that's the thing about, like, I guess, we take for granted, like, the oral history. I mean, if there's nothing that can remain as something that can last on something like the internet, then like those stories, those memories, they're just gonna slowly fade away, and then eventually, there's nothing left to talk about.
Right.
And when I started listening to podcasts like that, I just always enjoy listening to the stories and the memories behind it. And then, a couple of years ago, I really started to hone in on the things that I could still remember. And the thing that we've said about our podcast, we've got a 9-year gap between Ken and I, and we feel like, Ken will be kind of more focused. His early memories will be rooted in the 80s and mine in the 90s. But,
right.
Throughout those years, we've grown up, we've started families. I mean, Ken's got 5 children. Is that correct?
Yeah, 5.
I've got a 2.5-year-old. So we're both like doing the same things, but in different stages of life.
Yep,
but
exactly.
Certainly, our memories are. We hope that we have some shared memories and things that that the listeners can enjoy.
Yep. And plus, like what we were talking about before too, like you might have a different perspective on something, the same thing, but different, from me. Because, like, take, for example, okay, the 1989 Batman movie. All right, I was 15, you were 6. So the way I look at it and saw it will, probably be a lot different than, maybe what you thought about it back then too. So
yeah,
just kind of, different perspectives, I think would be kind of fun. So
yeah. And it's funny you mentioned Batman 89, because I was trying to think of where my earliest memories were and in what year. And for me, 1989 is where it starts.
Is it really?
But,
okay.
Yeah, but it's not with any sort of cartoon or franchise. It actually, for me, so just to give a little history, I'm live on the East Coast in Charleston, and Ken is in Wisconsin. Right. So geographically, we've got definitely some differences, but my earliest memory is remembering the hurricane of '89, which was Hugo. And,
oh wow, okay.
All that to kind of say that as the listeners subscribe and listen to our podcast, and we hope you guys enjoy what we're doing and give us feedback, because that's really, I remember Mickey, one of the podcasts, says that's the currency for podcasters is feedback. It's
exactly.
Giving a reshare on social media or giving a 5-star rating. So we know it's gonna start slow, and we hope to learn about the industry and about how podcasting works. Ken's gonna do a lot of the editing since he has a lot of experience with the Time Warp. I'll kind of focus in and hone in on the social media part. So we hope that the two of us, as we get to talking to each other, and the cool thing is that we're going to learn, like I said, we've never met in person. We've only known each other through the communities that we've been a part of, but we'll get to know each other on the fly as well. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, like you said, you've done some art stuff for me, and yeah, this is probably our 3rd or 4th time actually talking. But yeah, I think it's going to be fun. So
yeah. All right. Well, Ken, that's awesome, man. And again, we thank you guys for listening and tuning in. And we hope that you guys will be frequent listeners of the show. Ken, I'd say let's go ahead and dive into our first topic. Before we do that, I'd like to give the listeners a little snippet of like kind of what our expectation of the podcast is. We want to try to grind out about 2 episodes a month. And just a peek behind the curtain, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, Ken and I, just on a simple Google Doc, we started coming up with topics and ideas, and I think we're up in the 60s now.
I think last time I checked, we were at 63, so we're not short of any ideas. That's for sure.
And we're, just things that some of us always wanted to talk about, some that just came to us. Ken, just to give you an idea, he's a mailman and I am a computer technician. So throughout the day of our work days, we think about and listen to consume podcasts and read blogs and social media and stuff. So as these things came to us, Ken and I both threw stuff into the topic tank. And today's topic, Ken had the idea to say, let's kick off topic number one, show number one, with NES games, Nintendo Entertainment System. Ken, what's your first, before we get started, what's your history of the NES? Obviously, as a kid of the 80s, that was the system of the 80s, I would say, for the United States, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, actually, I believe, which we'll probably talk about later, but I believe the Nintendo came out in America in 1985. So I was 11, but we did not get our first system until, I want to say, 1988, when my brother turned 11. He got one for his birthday. Yeah. In July. July of 88. So that was my first experience with Nintendo.
How much older was your brother than you?
I'm older.
Oh, so your younger brother got an NES?
Yep. 3 years older. So yep. And then from there it was, buying games and renting games at the video store and, sleepovers with Nintendo all night long. So yeah.
Now I gotta ask, it's odd to me to hear that the younger brother gets a system before the older brother. Was that just something that the parents? What's the story behind that?
Yeah, just I usually didn't ask for a whole lot, and then sometimes he would ask for stuff and get it. So yeah, not too mad about it.
Yeah, I hope not after all these years.
No.
Well, for me, like I said, early in the show, I told you my memories, first memories I can go back to is about 89. But I think, and I don't know how we got the NES, but I think around 1990, 91 is where my NES days are coming. So a lot of my picks, you'll notice, I feel like are going to be a lot of the newer NES games near the tail end of the NES, and I'm interested to hear yours. Now, just to give a little insight, both Ken and I were debated whether or not we should know each other's picks beforehand. So we decided let's surprise each other. Let's see if maybe we have some of the same picks, or maybe all five are different. But I think what we've decided to do is go from 5 to 1, wouldn't you say, Ken, and work our way down to our top NES game?
Yeah, that sounds good. We both have some honorable mentions. We'll probably get those out of the way first.
Sure.
All right.
Well, let's go ahead and dig into your honorable mentions, and let's see what we got.
All right. My first one is RBI Baseball. I believe that came out around 86, 87. It was the first game that was able to use real player names. So you had Tony Gwynn, Mark McGuire, things like that. And then for the teams, they couldn't use the team names, so they just used the names of the cities. So you had Boston, California, Detroit, Houston, Minnesota, New York, St. Louis, and San Francisco. And then you had the two all-star teams, the American and National. So
nowhere did you have any of the mascots or the team names?
Just the city names.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of sleepover nights playing back and forth, tournaments and things like that. So that was a pretty fun game for me.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the whole real names, real players, because it's gonna be a relevant topic in one of my top 5 choices. What else you got for your honorable mentions?
I have one more. Batman. Speaking of Batman, Batman the video game. I want to say it probably came out the same year, 89.
It's the movie, huh?
Yeah. So this was just like a side scroller. I think it only had 5 levels. To me, it was a pretty hard game. The stages, you had Gotham City streets, Axis chemical plant, Gotham sewers, mysterious laboratory, and then the Gotham Cathedral bell tower. It was a pretty basic. You only had a couple different weapons, and then of course you had some villains like Deadshot, KG Beast, things like that.
Yeah.
I think Joker was at the end of the game. I never got that far, but it was a pretty rough game. To me, in my opinion, it was pretty rough.
Yeah.
But it was still cool because it was Batman.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Any other honorable mentions?
Nope, that was all I had.
Okay. Well, I'll throw out a few of mine. And speaking of, not speaking of, we RC Pro-Am was a game that I played I never owned it, but I played it a few times, and I just remember it being like a very like an aerial view of these little remote control cars.
Yeah.
That you could occasionally hit oil spills, oil slicks. You could get power ups, and I just remember that being a fun game, RC Pro-Am, and I can still see the cover art of the box and the label on the disc. Thought that was fun. Blades of Steel, which is a hockey game, and the thing I remember about that one in particular is that was the one I remember that you could actually fight.
Yeah.
And like I remember if you touch another player and if something happened, all of a sudden.
I think it was if you bumped into a certain player like 3 times. Then you would, then you would fight. Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember the game basically coming to a halt, and then another screen is now you have like it's basically turns into a one-on-one combat.
Yep, you throw your gloves off, and I think one button was to punch in the head, and the other was to punch in the gut, or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one totally missed my list. I loved that game, but that was a good one.
Yeah. The other 3 that I have, of course, not in my top 5, maybe yours, but Mike Tyson's Punch-Out!
Oh, that might be in my list.
Okay, well then I'll leave my comments at a minimum, but didn't own it, but what list is complete without a mention of the Punch-Out! Game. Dr. Mario was one that was sort of like a family favorite for our family. I remember it sort of being like a cross between Tetris, yeah, and of course Mario, which if I if I would think that Mario is going to have something in the top 5 on both of our lists. I would think maybe not, we'll see, but he was in there licensed in the game, and I remember there being these little virus bugs, and you started off like 4 or 5 of them. You had to match the pill to the virus, and I think 2 or 3 in a row that would kill that virus. And then I just remember one of the later levels, it was just viruses all in the bottle,
Yeah.
And then my last one, which I got to give a shout out to my uncle, because I remember watching my uncle play it, and don't think I ever asked to play it or got the chance, but was Ninja Gaiden or Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, crazy. That one was kind of hard too.
Yes.
A little bit on the harder side, yeah.
Yeah, I remember being at my grandma's and watching my uncle play it. My uncle, who was in the military, and I remember he just came down to visit and just loved Ninja Gaiden, and it was a fun thing. But those are my honorable mentions.
All right.
If you are ready, won't you hit us with your number 5?
All right. My number 5 is Contra.
Oh man.
From I believe 1988ish, I want to say. Pretty much just your basic side-scrolling shoot 'em up game.
Yeah.
Fighting aliens and whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. The music in the game was really good.
Yeah.
And then this of course is the one that has the Konami code where you could get the 30 lives. What was it? Up, down, left, right, BA, start.
Yeah, select start or something. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Konami
that was a fun game. Always
Yeah.
played that a lot too.
I remember that game. I played it a few times, never owned it. I just remember one of the guns, you could just have your finger on the trigger and just that thing was just slinging bullets left and right.
It's like the spread gun.
Yeah.
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 That was the weapon you needed in that game.
Yeah. Now I got to ask you, Ken. I know, and our listeners will soon find out if they don't know already. You're the toy guy. Do you have the FUNKO Contra guy?
I do not.
Oh man.
That's on my list, but yeah, no. As of right now, I don't have. I believe they came out with both of the guys, the red and the blue. So, and I didn't even know that they do have names.
Oh, do they?
Bill Reiser and Lance Bean. So
Jeez.
Up until the Funko Pops came out, I had no idea that they actually had names. So it's a little fact.
Bit of trivia,
yeah.
What's up? Well, that's awesome. Did you own Contra, or was it just a rental?
Oh yeah, no, we owned it. Yeah, I think that was one of the first games that we got actually.
Yeah. I'm thinking that all of our top five, is all your top five ones that you owned, I would guess.
Because
all mine are. And I think that's
there are two games on here that I did not own.
Okay.
It's my number 4 and my number 3.
Okay, coming up. Okay.
All right, how about your number 5?
All right, well, mine, we're going to delve into the world of wrestling. And this is a game I own. It's the first wrestling game I ever played. It's WCW wrestling.
Dude, now, that's my number 4.
Oh, really?
That's my number 4.
Awesome. Well, see, folks, this is why you just wing it and just hope for the best. Well, we can talk about it together then.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
So this was the first game I owned it, and at the time, like I said, I think this came out 1990.
Yeah.
The cover is awesome, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's got the Road Warriors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is in the sort of the days where you had the NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance, was sort of on the way out, and it was being called WCW World Championship Wrestling. And I remember the cover, it said the stars of the NWA and WCW. And I played this game so much. And now I got to say, for the time, right, the graphics where the wrestlers barely looked, at least I thought, they didn't look like their counterpart.
They were pretty close for like you said, back at that time. They were decent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just remember it looked like Flair wore tights, and I'm just thinking to myself, I never see Flair wearing tights. But let's run down the roster because
all right, I got it right here. Yep.
Yeah, you've got Flair, you've got Sting, Lex Luger, Mike Rotundo, of course the cover art, Road Warrior Hawk and Animal.
Yep.
Dr. Death Steve Williams, Kevin Sullivan, who rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in
lost
peace.
Him.
Passed away recently.
Yeah. Ricky Steamboat. I guess he had left the WWF at the time.
Yeah.
Rick Steiner, not Scott.
No Scott Steiner.
Yeah. Eddie Gilbert, Hot Stuff. Eddie Gilbert.
Yeah.
And the last one I think was Michael P.S. Hayes.
Yeah. Michael P.S. Hayes.
Yeah. And
so
do you remember the end guy? You remember the story about him? Because I never got to that far of the game.
It says the final opponent is a masked wrestler named WCW Master.
Yeah.
So I don't think, like I said, this was one of the games that I did not own. I always rented it, but I never had enough time to get to the end. So I don't think I ever got that far.
And I owned the game, and I never got to the end. The game was pretty hard, I thought. I mean, I think you picked one of the wrestlers and you just worked your way up the ladder in the single matches. And but I do remember, like, online, when the internet came about and finally getting a chance to see like some of the information behind the games that we loved. The WCW Master was modeled after Andre the Giant, which I thought was
really
wild. He wears a singlet like Andre, and he's huge. Like, he's basically like stands much taller. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you got that far.
Yeah.
But the thing I remember about this game, I remember when you chose who you wanted to be, you chose who you're going to fight, and then you got 8 move. Each character had 8 moves.
Yeah.
Basic moves, we would call basic moves, and then but you had to pick 4, and then the 4 you picked were based off of the directional pad.
Yep,
So
the D-pad. Yep.
Yeah. So you might choose a suplex or a backbreaker in one game, and then you choose a different one the next. But and then each wrestler had a finisher, and that was the other thing I remember too about the finishers. I don't feel were accurate to the wrestlers themselves.
No, not really.
Yeah.
I know it would make that, once you hit the finisher, it would make that little like
wheel.
Yeah, that noise or whatever, and then you knew you had it. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing that's I remember fondly about the match or the game is if you threw your wrestler outside, about every 4th or 5th time, an object would just come out of the crowd. And I just remember a wrench.
Yeah, the wrench, man. That was like
you could inflict some damage on that one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, man. That ducktail right into number 4 for you. Anything else you want to say? I guess maybe I can go into my number 4.
Yeah, since that was my number 4, let's just go into your number 4.
Okay. Now, my number 4, and it kind of relates to what you said about RBI baseball, but mine, number 4, bases loaded 2.
Okay, bases loaded. That was a good one too.
Yeah. Now, very important that we distinguish. There was bases loaded, and then there was a bases loaded 3. Bases loaded 2. I still play it to this day, like on emulators and stuff. But I just remember it being. They didn't have real players. They didn't have real teams, which I would think at the time would be like, man, I want to be the real teams. But like something about this game, the simplicity of it. I mean, it was just, it's, what is it at the time, 16-bit graphics? Or
8 or 16. Yeah. I think maybe Nintendo was still 8-bit at the time.
Yeah. But so you're limited by the technology at the time. But I just remember this being such an easy game to pick up. Like you didn't have to. There was no strategy like today's sports games, right? You gotta like know so many button combos and everything's too much to do. But in the NES with an A button and a B button and a directional pad, you don't give much options. But I just remember there just being a simple game to pick up and it just being so addicted. And I'm a guy that likes like when video games are accurate to the real life counterparts. So and stay tuned to one of my coming picks. It's going to be totally the opposite, but I just like the fact that the teams weren't real and the players weren't real. And I remember there was this one of the characters on one of the teams was named Webb. That was his last name. Just nothing but last names. But and he could, if you just hit that ball just right, I mean, he would homer every time.
Every single time.
Always get Webb. I don't know who he played for, but it was a fun game. It came out, and now it's a little earlier, 1988 for me. And again, no real teams, no real players, so no licensing from MLB, but just fun and addicting. And then I think it was Bases Loaded 3. I was doing my research. They actually got the license for the MLB, so Ryan Sandberg is on the cover of number 3. But
that's the one I remember. With him on there.
Yeah, and I just again, I wasn't the biggest baseball fan growing up, but somehow this game was just fun and addicting. So
I kind of had a game like that. For me too, it was the Tecmo baseball. It was no real players. I had the cities, but the colors were different and the players just had made up names. So that was kind of the one I played.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, awesome, man. Well, you want to go to number 3?
Yeah. So my number 3 is pretty just another. You'll find probably a lot of my games on here are just kind of like you don't have to think too much. It's just kind of like fighting or smashing stuff. So my number 3 is Rampage from 1986. It's got the George Lizzie and Ralph. It's the big gorilla, the Godzilla-looking type lizard, and then the werewolf. But I don't think the werewolf was in the Nintendo game. I think that was just on the arcade version. So it's basically these humans get turned into big creatures of, a King Kong like gorilla, and then like a Godzilla type lizard, and you just go around the whole country just smashing buildings and smashing army tanks and helicopters, and then you have to like eat food to like replenish your health, and if you get hit too much, then your character just dies, and then you just start over from where you left off.
Yeah.
So basically you just start, I believe it's California, and then you work your way across the whole country and just destroy cities. That's about it for that game.
Yeah. Now, you said this was huge was this huge in the arcade? Was that where it got its start?
I believe so. It started out as an arcade game, which it had 3 characters, but like I said, I believe the Nintendo game only had 2, the gorilla and the lizard.
Yeah.
So still, just kind of fun game. You go through all the states and different cities, and that game took forever too. This was the other one that I didn't own. It was just go rent it at the video store on a Friday night or something and see how far you can get through the weekend.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at the cover art right now, and that's definitely a frame worthy, that the 2 characters on scaling the building.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked it though. It was pretty fun.
Awesome.
All right. How about you? Number 3.
Number 3 for me. Now, take everything I said about number 4 with bases loaded.
Okay.
And just forget about everything I said, because my next one, and because of the realism and the accuracy, is Tecmo Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this wasn't the first Tecmo football game. We've already mentioned Tecmo earlier. Tecmo was big in the sporting games.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But this was the first. Tecmo Super Bowl was the first. That I still like. I think there are still online communities that have modded the rosters.
Oh yeah, they have updated rosters every year. Yeah.
Which goes to show you that this game is timeless, right?
Yeah.
And again, in a world where the Madden is the king of football games, this game here with only 2 buttons on the NES, it was a great game for somebody that just liked football but didn't know how to play football. You just go right in. Yep. No learning curve. But Super Bowl was the first game. It came out in 91, the first licensed game, not only with the license of the team, but also the license by the players, the Players Association. Tecmo Bowl, which kind of like what you mentioned earlier, it had the names of the cities.
Yeah.
And I think it even had the colors of the jerseys, but you couldn't say the LA was the Raiders, right?
Right. So when you would score a touchdown on the game, it would just say, "Oh, Chicago touchdown." You wouldn't have the players.
Right.
Yeah.
And listeners may remember, how could you forget the original Tecmo Bowl, the Bo Jackson, basically a cheat code.
Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah, me and a friend were actually just talking about that the other day at work. If you were playing, you're like, "Oh, I'm LA Raiders, Bo Jackson."
Yeah. You got to set a rule. No Bo.
Right.
but Super Bowl had the real teams, the real players. Again, the 8-bit, 16-bit graphics, but the play screen, you had 4 runs and you had 4 passes.
Yep.
And I think if you were playing 2-player mode, next your buddy next to you, if he guessed the right play that you were going to pick, then I think you put more pressure in the backfield, so you'd have a better chance to stop.
Yeah.
But
now was that the one that had you started out with the 4 plays, but did you have a playbook where you could go in and swap the plays out, or was that one a little further down the road? I don't remember what.
I think it was further down the road.
All right.
If it did, I didn't know how to do it, but I remember you could play like I think you could play a season of
Yeah.
a season, but it had the real players and the thing also I remember too is like you said the cut scenes when there was a touchdown or interception, you'd have a quick cut scene. And it just like for its time, early 90s.
Oh, it was great.
It was just great. And it's a game that even today I could, if somebody said, hey, want to play some NES, I'm like, you got Tecmo Super Bowl, because I could just pick it up. Doesn't matter how much time has passed.
Right. Yeah. All right. So going to number 2 here.
Yeah.
All right, my number 2 was on your honorable mention, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. So originally started off as an arcade game just called Punch-Out, and then made the transition over to NES. But of course, they got the license for, at the time, heavyweight champ Mike Tyson, which was of course, the big boss at the very end of the game. But you had a whole bunch of fighters to go through before you could get there, and then some of the fighters you had to fight twice. Characters: Glass Joe, Von Kaiser, Piston Honda, Don Flamenco, King Hippo, Great Tiger, Bald Bull, Soda Popinski, Mr. Sandman, Super Macho Man, and then Mike Tyson. So it was a fun game to go through. Got difficult at times with some of the guys, especially towards the end. Mr. Sandman and the Super Macho Man were pretty tough.
Yeah. These characters, man, they're just so beautifully designed. Just the over cartoonish characters of for some reason, man, I'm looking at them, and Bald Bull he's scary looking, He says he's from Istanbul, Turkey.
Yeah.
36, 290. But I just remember that one in particular, man. I think maybe that was the one. Maybe when I got to him, I couldn't get any further past. But
I think
Glass Joe, the one that you started off with.
Yeah, he was 1 in 99. So I know when you had to fight Piston Honda 2 times, Don Flamenco 2 times, I think Great Tiger twice, and I think Bald Bull you had to fight twice as you went through. So, yeah. But then, of course, a little story, there was a cheat code where you could put in and you could go directly to the end of the game to Mike Tyson.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and I remember my dad bought it as a birthday gift for probably my brother, and then we had it for a few weeks, and then somehow he heard through somebody at school about the cheat code. So one day we were sitting there playing it, and my dad came home from work, and he was like, "Oh, you guys made it to Mike Tyson already?" And we were like, at the time, my brother, like, "Oh no, I got this cheat code from a kid at school, that lets you get to Mike Tyson." So, my dad was kind of PO'd about that because he had spent all this money, and then here you are, oh, you get to the game already.
Yeah.
Kind of a waste of money, but. But he made us, because we had it written down on a sheet of paper, and he made us throw it away, but I had memorized it. So when he wasn't home, or at work, we'd put it in, and put the code in. So
that's awesome. And props to you, because if you had to get a code back then, you didn't just Google it, right? You had to know some serious folks, insiders.
I mean, probably got it out of the Nintendo Power magazine or something like that, but yeah, so awesome. A lot of good memories with that game too, with sleepovers and just going through the game.
I feel like as a whole, like that's a game, if you just talk about Nintendo games, even for just your casual person, I think Punch-Out's always going to make that list,
Oh, yeah.
There were other boxing games, of course, but that one just it lended itself well, the cartoonish.
Yeah.
And then, of course, at the time, man, Mike Tyson was the man,
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, he was my favorite boxer back then.
Yeah.
I think the one little note that I have in my it says the game received critical acclaim and is retrospectively considered one of the greatest video games of all time, which, I can't disagree with that. So
yeah,
I think it's, stands the test. Even to this day, I still off the Nintendo Switch, I still go on there and play it every now and again.
Yeah. Well, awesome, man. Well, all right, Ken. Well, I'll get into my number 2, and you as the toy guy of the two of us, you'll get to know a little bit about me in terms of the toy that I have the most fond memories of growing up. And for me, early 90s, it was about the Turtles, and that was, and we'll dive into this in later episodes, what the toys that you grew up with. But for me, it was my first memories are with the Turtles, and I wasn't, I was pretty young to be going to the arcades and stuff, but I do remember seeing the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade, and I remember it being the first arcade that if you had 3 friends, you guys could each be a different turtle, and you guys could just go and try to beat the foot soldiers and get to, the Bebops and Rocksteadies and
that's
places.
That's a classic arcade game, man.
Yeah. So when it got ported over to NES, but I think this was definitely a Santa Christmas gift, maybe in 90 or 91. Well, no, it'd have been 90 when it came out, so it may have been that Christmas or maybe the following Christmas. But I remember opening it. I got to find these pictures of me opening it on Christmas morning, but the opening that thing up and just having a video game to go with my action figures. I just remember that just being an awesome feeling. And, it was another one too that I think had a cheat code, similar probably to the Konami code, where you might have skipped ahead to a different level. But I just remember that first stage, the first level. You are just foot soldiers everywhere, and there's a fire, and you're just you're picking your favorite turtle. Mine was always Michelangelo, and I don't remember ever beating the game. I can't remember if it is generally regarded as a hard game to beat or an easy game to beat, but just the fact that it was the Turtles. I mean, and I think there was an original Turtles game, and I think there was probably a Turtle game afterward, but this one just was the sweet spot for me. The arcade Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, the arcade game. And fun fact, the box, and this should tell you the sign of the times there. The box, of course, had a deal with, of course, Pizza Hut.
Oh, okay.
There was actually a coupon included with it expired on December 31st, 1991. It was probably for a free personal pan pizza, but
how could you not?
What a tie-in there with the pizza and the Turtles. But just a fun game, and I rank it as my number 2.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. By the time Turtles came out, I was like a freshman in high school, so I really didn't get into Turtles as I know like some of the younger kids of that time, but I liked the Ninja Turtles, and like I said, the arcade game was really cool. So yeah, good pick.
Awesome.
All right, well then we'll get into my number 1, which
we've arrived. I'm curious. Now again, we told everybody that we don't know each other's picks.
Nope.
So will we have the same number 1? We shall see. Ken, hit us up. Tell us what your number 1 is.
All right. So my number 1 pick is Double Dragon from Technos, Japan. I believe, this came out in, I want to say, the arcade game, 87. I think this came to, Nintendo in 88. So basically, just your average side-scrolling beat 'em up game of the 80s. The 2 characters are Billy and Jimmy Lee. The game basically, there's really not that big of a plot. It's your girlfriend is standing outside a garage and the thugs come up and punch her in the stomach and grab her and take off, and then you're off in the game just going and trying to rescue her from, pretty much all these thugs. And as you go along and build up points, you get hearts, and each heart is, you gain like a new move. You start off with kick and punch, and then you get things like jump kick, and then you get like an uppercut. And there's one move where you can grab the guy by the hair and give him some knees to the face, and you can throw them, and just things like that. So, and then once you get to the end of the game, you got to fight through every character that you faced along through the game, and then the final boss is pretty much someone who has all the moves that you do, basically like a mimic. And it wasn't too hard, but it took a little while to. That was one game that I did finally end up beating the whole game. So yeah, Double Dragon's my number one.
Awesome. And that's another original arcade.
Yeah.
The NES port, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another little story for this game is, at the time when it came out, me and my brother really wanted it, and I think at that time it was around $60. So back then that was pretty high, for a little, Nintendo game.
Oh yeah.
And we lived about 5 minutes away from the high school where I went to, and my dad said, if either one of you, like myself or my brother, he said, if you guys can beat me in 100-yard dash, then I'll buy you the game. So we drove up to the school and we went onto the football field, and I was on the left side. My dad was in the middle and my brother was on the right side. And, we had 100-yard dash, and my brother, he was, lagging behind. But then I think about halfway through, my dad tripped and fell.
Oh, man.
And so I kept going. So, technically by the rules, I won. So I think the next day we went out and he bought it for us. So
yeah, pay up, Dad.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the memory too I have with that game. So pretty
awesome,
cool.
Man. Yeah. Well, I can tell you that I've never played Double Dragon, of course, never owned it, never rented it, but certainly, definitely a top game of the time. All right, well, let me reveal my number one, and my number one is not a sports game, it's not a fighting game, but, if you're thinking of NES, there's one character that comes to mind, and it's Mario. And for me, the de facto Mario game was Super Mario 3.
Oh, 3, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I've played all 3, 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
And but of course, with I think the timing of the game, of course, original Mario was probably 86, and then followed by probably a year or two later Mario 2. But for me, getting it probably in the 90s, 3 was already out, and we started with 3. So I remember my sister, and I think my mom, and just something that you could pick up and play, and just Mario, who loves the story of Mario and the plumber and what he's got to do. It came out interesting in Japan in 1988 and was a big success by all accounts. But because of some snags and stuff, it didn't actually get released to the States until 1990. And what I think is a stroke of genius to introduce the North American audience to the Super Mario 3, The Wizard, 1989.
Oh, the movie, yeah.
That was basically used as an advertisement to introduce the States here to NES 3. And of course, I've seen The Wizard, not at the time, but later on in my childhood, and just a fun movie, classic movie of the 80s. But I remember so many things about Super Mario 3. First off, there's 8 distinct worlds. You had, starting off, they call it the grass world. Everything's grass. Then you ended up in the desert, followed by the water. And then you had level 4 was giant world, where everything in the first world was basically supersized. You had sky world, you had ice world, you had pipe world, and then what they call the Dark Land. But I remember after every world, you had to face off against one of Cooper's Koopalings and one of his sons or daughters on like an airship. And of course, you'd see the princess, and as soon as you get them and you think you rescued her, and nope, you're off to the next world. Okay. But it was because the 89, the reason it didn't get introduced in 89 was, from my reading, was there was a shortage of ROM chips. So they were gonna release it sooner because it was doing so good in Japan. So because of the shortage of the ROM, somebody decided to make the movie and let that be the intro to the North American crowd. So just a fun game. The fact that you can, they call the overworld maps, where you see the whole world, but you have to traverse through the different stages to get to it. And then I remember also, as opposed to 1 and 2, which one, of course, the OG, right? And a lot of us got it as part of the NES system, right? It was Mario and maybe Duck Hunt, or Mario and Zelda when it was bundled. 2 was quite different in terms of how it was designed. Yeah, you say?
2, I never really got into Super Mario 3. I remember playing Super Mario 2 quite a bit, but 3 kind of like passed me by a little bit. So really? I really didn't get into that one as much. I played it a few times, but Super Mario 2 was I remember playing that one quite often.
I played 2 at my cousin's house, and she had 2, and I remember always liking the princess because the princess could glide. Yeah. And on some of those levels, you really need to glide over those jumps. But 3 is one we owned, and I even remember, must have been a magazine stand purchase. We got the official guide to Super Mario 3, so it showed you where all the power-ups were and all the things. And I do remember beating that game, and probably the first and only game I ever beat on NES, but just a fun classic game. And like I said, I debated putting anything ahead of it, but when I put my mind to it, gotta go with Super Mario 3.
Yeah, good pick.
Thank you. All right, and Ken, so we've got our 5 picks, and I thought it'd be fun to see how our picks compared to a list online. I see IGN published their top 100 games of the Nintendo Entertainment System, and in looking at our picks, your picks, you have 2 picks in the top 100. Okay. That would be Punch Out, which is number 7.
Oh, okay.
And also Contra, number 12.
Oh, all right.
Surprisingly, Double Dragon, not the original Double Dragon, doesn't make their list, but 3 or 4 other Double Dragon, including a Battletoads and Double Dragon, makes their top 100.
Oh, that's kind of surprising.
Yeah, I thought so too. Okay. And also Rampage, not in their
in the top 100, huh?
Yeah. All right. For me, Super Mario 3 actually is their number 1 game.
Wow. Okay.
And of course, Tecmo Super Bowl is in their list, and also Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the arcade game, is in their list as well. That ranks at 41. Okay. I figured, I thought maybe what I'd do is see if you can guess what now number 1 I told you is Super Mario 3 for IGN, but can you think of the other 4 that they would have chosen
for top 5?
Yeah.
All right. Probably Legend of Zelda.
You are correct. That is actually number 2 for them. Okay. So you got 1 and 2. Now I'm gonna go ahead and tell you 3 because I don't want you to overthink it. But Super Mario, the original Super Mario.
That was gonna be my next guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now they've got 3 over. Now, like me, I like 3 over 1 myself. But so then there leaves 4 and 5. What are you thinking?
Man, probably trying to think of what was popular at the time back then.
I'll give you a hint.
All right.
You know, we all kind of agree Mario is the character of the NES, but this character was sort of second or third, I would say, in several games. Not widely known, but kind of holds their own.
Oh man, I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I can't say I've played this game, but Mega Man.
Oh, Mega Man.
Mega Man.
Okay, yeah, I really wasn't into that, so yeah.
I wasn't either. I just know he was, you know, featured in many of the sequels and
tons of games, yeah.
And I think he probably crossed over in the Super NES and maybe even further, you know.
Yeah.
And then fifth, again, if you're thinking, you know, maybe Halloween, spooky.
Castlevania?
You got it.
All right.
In fact,
okay.
Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse.
3, okay. Those games were tough, man.
Were they?
Yeah. At least to me, they were.
Right. Well, I'm just kind of glancing at their list. One of the things I loved, and I played this a few times. Did you ever play Excite Bike?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Yeah, I remember that one. You could design your own courses.
Yeah, you could make your own tracks and
jumps and stuff like that.
Yep.
We kicked off talking about Blades of Steel. That actually made number 24 in their list.
Okay.
And you know, we were talking about 89 Batman earlier. Batman the video game ranks at 33 for them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And Ninja Gaiden is featured number 17, and also Ninja Gaiden 2, 43.
Okay.
Tetris, which, you know, is kind of, I don't know if it belongs to any one system in particular.
Right.
But Tetris is sort of classic. My Dr. Mario ranks in at 51. It was in my honorable mentions.
Okay.
Tecmo Super Bowl, which I think is better than the original, is 53. Your Double Dragon, not the original, but Double Dragon 3 comes in at 55.
Wow.
Just looking here, a wrestling game that I don't remember playing. We talked about Tecmo, the company Tecmo, but Tecmo World Wrestling. I'll have to look at that.
I think I had that game.
Really?
Yeah.
Duck Hunt, which a lot of us may have gotten as part of the bundle.
Yep.
Ranks in at 77.
Okay.
And you know, the rest of them. I mean, there's some good ones in here. Skate or Die. I remember that one.
Yeah.
Just playing that one. I see another Mega Man. So it's pretty interesting list. If you're online, you want to look up IGN's top 100, but thought that'd be a fun way to compare our picks.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Awesome.
Chad, if you love the spooky season as much as I do, this Halloween, make sure you stay on trend with all the hottest and most popular Halloween costume ideas. HalloweenCostumes.com has brand new 2024 costumes based on your favorite pop culture events and movies from this year. If you're looking for the latest, the newest, the freshest, the trendiest, and the funniest, then HalloweenCostumes.com is the place. They have all that's new and exciting in Halloween costumes for 2024. From this year's movie characters to new takes on classic characters, they've got everything you'll need to make this Halloween the best ever. If you visit HalloweenCostumes.com, we think you're going to instantly find tons of fun Halloween costume ideas for 2024 for you, the entire family, and everyone else you might know. And if you click on the link in the show notes or at geekstermedia.com, you can instantly save 20% off any one item in your cart. So head over to HalloweenCostumes.com to find your costume for 2024 and be the envy of everyone in your neighborhood.
You want to get on with our next topic? We here in the podcast, we talked about having a segment for Ken's toy picks. Tell us a little bit about that, Ken.
All right, so yeah, I'm a pretty big, action figure toy collector. So, I do have a YouTube channel, like we said earlier, called Toy Time Warp, and also an Instagram page. So we thought for the show that maybe it'd be cool if we did a little segment where I just give a list of my top 3 toys that are currently hitting the market or up for, pre-order online. So, yeah, we can get into the toy spotlight, and I'll give my top 3 toys here.
I gotta say, Ken, doing your graphics for the last year, I mean, some of your, you've got such a good grasp of like the toy industry and where like the things that are upcoming to get excited about, and some of the things that you have in these lists, man. I'm not a toy guy, but I'm like, man, I want to be after some of these things.
Right. Yeah. They can come out with some pretty good stuff these days with the articulation and vehicles and all that sort of thing. So, my number 1 I have from McFarlane Toys is the Batman Forever Batmobile, which also comes with the Alfred figure. So basically the figures DC Multiverse are pretty much all 7-inch figures. And then this Batmobile is a glow-in-the-dark feature. Glows green. The Batmobile canopy slides open, and then you can fit pretty much any of your DC Multiverse characters in there. They just came out with a set of 4 figures from the Batman Forever movie, so it's pretty cool.
I gotta say, I'm looking at this glow in the dark, man. It is awesome looking.
Yeah, and I believe this is currently up for pre-order. I don't think it's quite out yet, but it should be pretty soon. But this is coming in at, I believe, $109.99, so pretty pricey. But other than that, I mean, if you got the money, good addition to anybody's collection.
Yeah. All
right. Then at number 2, we're gonna stick in the Batman universe. From Funko, we have the GameStop exclusive 6-inch Bane from the Arkham Asylum video game. These games were pretty cool. I want to say around 2010, 2012. Arkham Asylum. Then you had Arkham City, and then Arkham Origins. So here we got the Bane Funko Pop. It's another glow in the dark, and it's a super-sized pop coming in at 6 inches. So
see, it's a GameStop exclusive.
Yep, GameStop exclusive. So you can try your luck going in the store and try and find it, or you just pre-order it online, which it's usually the easy way to go. So
Yeah. I see another glow in the dark one as well.
yeah, like I said, I'm a sucker for glow in the dark stuff. I have been ever since I was a kid. So
Yeah. And I got to ask, Ken, as a side, are you, with the Funkos you had, are you somebody that keeps them in the box, or are you an unboxer?
I definitely keep them in the box. I know this is audio, but I'll show you one. Keep them in. Here's a Spider-Man.
Nice.
Keep them in the box, and I always put a protector over the box, so
Okay.
keeps it extra safe.
Awesome.
So yeah, I'm an in-box collector.
Okay.
All right, and then my number 3 is from the Deadpool Wolverine movie from Hot Toys. It's the 1/6 scale Kidpool. 30 points of articulation. He comes with interchangeable hands, swap out lenses for the mask, a hoodie, a backpack, swords, water guns, a couch, and a display stand. So yeah, this, pretty awesome figure. Did you see the movie?
Yeah. In fact, this was the first movie that I've seen in theaters in about 4 or 5 years.
Oh, wow.
First really since COVID,
Okay.
but even
Yeah.
for COVID. But I'm so glad that I saw this because, man, this movie, I loved it.
Oh yeah, me too.
And the accessories here, the couch and the,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, they do such a good job. And I mean, the whole Deadpool franchise they think of everything.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no doubt.
Right now, I'm a sucker for all the Deadpool merch that exists. And I just saw the other day, Target has a Deadpool Wolverine soundtrack on vinyl.
Oh, okay.
It's got some of the classic, the songs of
Oh yeah.
the opener on the movie with In Sync, Bye Bye Bye,
Yeah.
others, and just if you're talking 80s and 90s hits, that Deadpool soundtrack is pretty cool.
So those are my top 3, and then I figured I'd throw some couple retro things in there that I'm always hunting on eBay for stuff too. So just recently I picked up from the 1989 Batman movie the set of 4 cups that came out from Taco Bell. So these are in great shape.
Yeah, I was looking at them this morning when you sent me the picture, and first thing I noticed, the color is still pretty.
Yeah,
intact.
these are, I mean, I would think that these, are still original.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
Probably the summer of '89 with
Summer of '89. I remember going to Taco Bell, and I know I did have some back in the day, but who knows where they are now? Probably in the trash.
I got to ask you, and I know each episode we'll dive into this a little deeper, but are you a collector cup guy, or is this the first collector cups you've really bought?
Yeah, I like to try and get some cups. I have a set of McDonald glasses from the Great Muppet Caper movie from 1981. I have a set of those, and I get a couple here or there. Sometimes when I go to like Goodwill or something, I'll go and check out the glassware section and see if there's anything over there. So
you hoping that somebody just gets one mixed in with all the rest of the crystal stuff. Yeah.
And then
cups were the thing back then, man. Both plastic and glass.
Oh yeah.
Are you have you seen these cups that McDonald's has right now?
Yeah.
My
wife, I think, actually has one. So
does she?
Yeah. And then this, being our first show, I thought I'd show a second thing off from 1982.
Shrinky
Dinks, E.T. The box is pretty beat up, but it's never been opened. So I don't know if anybody, basically what you do is they come with 8 or 9 different sheets you can color.
Uh-huh.
And then you stick them in the oven, and then they shrink. And then you can use them as, just like little collectibles on a plastic stand.
I see the classic Elliot on the bike with E.T.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Those are cool, man. That definitely seems more like an 80s thing that I hope I get to learn a little bit more about.
Oh, it was, man, anytime we went to the store too, can I get some Shrinky Dinks? Yeah. There's a ton of them too. If you look on eBay, there's all kinds.
Yeah.
Mr. T or A-Team, Smurfs, just anything you can think of from back in the 80s.
Awesome, man. Well, great. So this next segment we're going to call the pop culture moment. And in this segment, we'll highlight various anniversaries and birthdays of events of our past in the 80s and 90s. And I figured for this one, this being our NES show and this episode planning to release in early September, it's actually, next year will be a big one. But for this one, 39th anniversary of the release of Super Mario Brothers in Japan. And of course, we always talked about how big Mario was in the NES world. I found out he's actually involved or featured in 200 games,
Wow.
Over 200 games, and I'm guessing from Super Mario Brothers all the way to Dr. Mario Golf. You remember anybody else? Mario.
I actually think there was arcade game just called Mario Brothers. I even think maybe even before Nintendo, where it was just Mario and Luigi running around in a sewer, just jumping and doing that kind of thing. So
probably before the NES.
Maybe. I'm not positive on that, but I do remember there being an arcade game.
Sure. Certainly I think it set the standard for side scroll games. With that being the first. It was actually released in Japan for the Famicom, the family computer. And then the next year, 86, it actually hit arcades. And I think that's what you're talking about. And then, for the release in 87, I'm not sure if the NES was introduced in 87 and then Mario came along. But I do know that, it was often bundled with the purchase of the system. So, what a great way to introduce your character. And I thought I'd, mention that, reading a little bit of the history of Mario, they wanted something simple, but yet engaging. And they also wanted a game that was challenging, but yet addictive. And I think, it ticks those boxes, certainly. And I thought it'd be interesting to mention that this kind of, not surprising, but the staggering number. Mario is the best-selling franchise of any video game franchise that's ever been.
Right.
Currently, as of the what I read, $879 million dollars that involves Mario. The next highest grossing franchise, you have to almost cut that number in half. To 495 is actually Tetris.
Tetris, okay. Yeah.
And like I said, I think Tetris is more of a, it doesn't necessarily belong to the NES, but I think a lot of us remember it there. The next one, which is close behind Tetris, will probably overtake it in the coming years, is Pokemon.
Yeah, I can see that.
Certainly, and I think of Pokemon doesn't have the longevity like the Mario and Tetris, followed by Grand Theft Auto franchise. Certainly more modern gamers will remember that. Call of Duty, the COD series. Minecraft, and then here's a sports franchise is FIFA, the FIFA soccer games. But Mario tops them all, 879 million and almost a billion. But you got to think in terms of we're going to talk a lot on this podcast about pop culture as a wide variety, but you got to think, to me, and we're big wrestling fans and we both probably think of Hulk Hogan when it comes to wrestling, but when it comes to video games, Mario just is like
Yeah.
demand, you know.
Yeah.
So in the licensing that you can do, I mean, the movies, the merchandise, the lunch boxes, I mean, we'll talk about it all over the course of the podcast. And but I thought, you know, what a way to kick off the podcast and celebrating the NES games and 39th anniversary of Mario.
Right. And just a side note, going back to toys, FUNKO does not have the license for Nintendo, which is very surprising. That's
Really?
one of the franchises that they do not have a license for yet.
That is surprising because
I
I
don't know
thought
if
they
they
did it
I don't know
all.
if they ever will.
Yeah, I wonder, is it's Nintendo's asking price too high, or?
I don't know. But you know, out of all the licenses FUNKO has, they don't have Nintendo.
It's like they're a golden goose.
Right. But
That's
yeah,
awesome.
good little topic for the pop culture moment. Yeah, I mean, Nintendo, Super Mario, you know, if you don't have that, you probably don't have a lot of things that you have today.
Absolutely. Yeah. The OG.
Yep, definitely.
Awesome. All right. Well, Ken, it's been fun. And then our final segment that we've both decided, you know, we're getting older and, you know, life happens, and a lot of our heroes and role models growing up, you know, we all have to face one day our demise. And unfortunately, as each week passes, we hear of people in pop culture, people in our childhood that we lost. And for our in memoriam segment, for episode number 1, we're gonna give a toast to a wrestler who has recently passed. And unfortunately, and you probably know this, Ken, it's every week it seems like you hear about a wrestler from the 80s or 90s, you know, just catching up with you know, the lifestyle that was, those guys were rough. But unfortunately, just recently we lost Sid Eudy, who had many names, you know, Sid Justice, Psycho Sid, Sid Vicious.
Right.
He left us on August 26th. Didn't realize he had been battling cancer. I don't know. Did you?
I just found that out recently when I was doing a little research a couple of days ago. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think it was very sort of a private battle, but had lymphoma, I believe, and age of 63.
Yeah.
But had a very, I mean, the tributes when that happened, the tributes that were pouring on social media. I mean, he was trending #1 on Twitter that day. And
Right.
I mean, talk about a career, like a wrestler's career. I mean, one thing that comes to mind when I think about Sid is he didn't stay anywhere very long.
No.
You know?
No, because I was looking, you know, what are some of the federations he was in? Of course, WWF, WCW, USWA, you know, things like that. Yeah, he was all over the place.
Yeah, he had a stint in ECW back when they were just getting a TV deal. I remember, and of course, you know, ECW pushed the limits of the violence.
Oh yeah,
the
definitely.
language and the sex and
Right.
But he started in New Japan. I think he was sort of trained there and started off as this. This is kind of before my time, but WCW. He was a tag team called the Skyscrapers.
Okay.
Dan Spivey, and then he actually was for a short time member of the Four Horsemen.
Right.
And left to go to the WWF in the early 90s.
Yep, 91, 92. Yeah.
And he was, like I said, former Four Horsemen. He fought Hogan in WrestleMania 8.
Right.
Any memories of WrestleMania 8? I know there was some sort of botched, from what I've read and heard, the botched run-in.
Yeah, from
pay-per-view.
Papa Shango.
Yeah.
Was supposed to run in and he missed his cue or something like that. And I believe, wasn't that something with the Ultimate Warrior as well then ran in also?
Yeah.
During that, at the end of that match? Yeah.
Yeah, and then later on, he was actually getting ready to do a feud with Warrior, and like many of Warrior's opponents, it was hard to deal with and caused Sid to go back to WCW. So that payoff really didn't happen, but he returned to WCW, and he had an interesting stint in his second time in WCW, he on a European tour got in a fight with Arn Anderson.
Yeah.
And was apparently stabbed almost times.
I listened to the Something to Wrestle podcast, and they've talked about that on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently Sid stabbed Arn with scissors.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was the other way around. But I know Sid got the worst end of the deal and had 20 stab wounds. And anyway, it was a European tour, and apparently because they were leaving and, they didn't press charges. But after that, I mean, Sid was pretty much blackballed out of WCW. So he goes back to WWF, and this is probably where he's had his most successful run, I would say, because he was two-time champ during this stint.
Right.
Fighting, he became Shawn Michaels' bodyguard in the second, and then he won the title, Survivor Series 96, lost it the next month, regained it, so now he's the two-time on an episode of Raw, and then he headlined WrestleMania 13 with The Undertaker, lost it to him.
Yeah.
And released in the summer of 97. So here we go. He's up and down between feds and stuff. Then he kind of reappears on the indie circuits and ECW. I just remember big pops from that crowd when they saw Sid. I mean, he's a giant man. He's 6'9".
Huge.
Yeah. And really never, he had the Psycho thing worked. I mean, it was unique enough, but his attire wasn't very. It was black trunks mostly.
It was pretty basic in that department. Yeah.
The vest was a cool touch.
Yeah.
But never the best talker, never the best worker, but menacing is what I think of it.
I think if you're gonna model a wrestler, I think he had the perfect size, build. He looked like a wrestler.
Yeah, absolutely. And then after his WWF stint, he goes back to WCW in the summer of 99. This is kind of in the wheelhouse of my wrestling fandom, is in that late 90s. I was probably 13 to 15. So it's like perfect Monday Night Wars going on. But of course, summer of 99, WCW we're past the we'll talk about this at nauseum, I think, hopefully, but WCWs are kind of on their downswing.
Yeah.
And I just remember 2 months prior to the sale of WCW to Vince, he's on a pay-per-view fighting Steiner, and he was a two-time champ in WCW in that time, but he broke his leg in the gruesome.
Yeah, I've seen the video of that. Yeah, that was a bad one. Yeah. You could just see it snap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was coming off the second rope, which is not something he generally did.
No.
High flyer, but WCW is trying anything to regain the ratings. But he lands wrong, breaks his leg. And of course that WCW is sold 2 months later, and Sid never really wrestles after that. But
no.
I think he was pretty. He was a occasional guest in the con world, and different signings and stuff, and just it's always sad when you see one of those characters larger than life go. But we just want to give a toast to Sid Eudy, Sid Vicious, however you know him. You just hopefully have good fond memories of him, and here's to you, Sid.
Yep. Rest in peace, Sid.
Absolutely.
Thanks for all the memories.
Yep.
Why? Because I am the master and I am the ruler.
Thank you for listening to the Retro Resurgence podcast. You can find us on most major podcast platforms, including Spotify, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also find us on social media. You can follow us on Instagram at The Retro Resurgence. You can also find us on X at Retro Resurgence, or you can email us at theretroresurgence@gmail.com. And lastly, you can find us online at our home base, www.theretronetwork.com, where you'll find lots of great people and content there. Please engage with us on social media or leave us feedback at our email. Leave a rate and review wherever you listen to podcasts. Join us again in 2 weeks here on the Retro Resurgence podcast.
And that wraps up another episode of the Retro Resurgence podcast. We're so grateful you joined us today and took a trip down memory lane with us, and we can't wait to bring you more retro goodness in our next episode. Until then, keep embracing the past, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for listening.
This has been a presentation of Geekster Media.